The worst traffic jam of World War II. The traffic jam created due to German army in the Ardennes region was 250 kilometers long. If the Allied forces would have detected it, World War II could have been different. It was 1940 in the French Belgium border. The German troops have assembled the largest mechanized force the world had seen. The plan to cross into France through the Ardennes region was a brilliant idea. Still, from a logistics point of view, it was a disaster. It created a 250 kilometers long traffic built-up in the area, and luckily the French and British didn't notice it. If the traffic jam were known, the course of World War II would have been different. Start of World War II. After World War I, as per the Versailles Treaty, Germany was forced to accept a massive military restriction. The humiliation of the Versailles Treaty and the Great Economic Depression kindled the rise of Germany's far-right groups. When the National Socialist Party or Nazi Party came to power, its leader Adolf Hitler ignored the Versailles Treaty and started the German rearmament program. German war industry received government subsidiaries and laborers from concentration camps. The built-up drew the world into another war. Hitler's mechanized army rolled into Czech and Austria. Britain and France tolerated this aggression, but the straw that broke the camel's back was the Poland invasion. After Germany invaded Poland, France and Britain declared war on Germany and deployed their troops to the border. Britain sent an expeditionary force of 350,000 soldiers to France. Even Hitler was surprised by the Allied war proclamation. Hitler decided that he can't wage war on two fronts. He called upon his generals to plan the invasion of the Low Countries and France. Ardennes offensive. In World War I, the German army was bogged down in trench warfare for 4 years and lost the war. Hitler, who was a World War I soldier, didn't want it to happen again. He asked his generals for an innovative plan. General Erich von Manstein, who was radical among German generals, proposed the Ardennes offensive, which shocked the German High Command. After World War I, France constructed a series of fortifications called the Maginot Line along the German-French borders. France built these fortifications to keep a check on the German offensive in the future. There was a gap in the Maginot Line in the Ardennes forest region on the French Belgium border. The forest contained harsh terrain that the French generals considered unsuitable for tanks, so they didn't expect the Germans to attack there. General von Manstein planned his offensive in Ardennes Forest, where the French had the least defenses. His idea was radical, and the German High Command rejected it. General von Manstein was able to get Hitler's attention for the concept. Hitler was excited and approved of the idea. The German High Command was reluctant to start a war with France and tried to sideline General von Manstein, but they were unsuccessful. The Panzer, armored, divisions under General von Manstein prepared for the crossing of the Ardennes forest. The offensive consisted of 42,000 vehicles, including 1,200 tanks. The traffic jam. The German infantry, which was supposed to use a different route, came onto the same road as General von Manstein's massive army. The infantry and tank division convergence caused enormous confusion and chaos. The vehicles started to progress at a snail pace with a bumper-to-bumper traffic. The traffic developed into a 250-kilometer-long vehicle chain. French reconnaissance aircraft reported the traffic jam in the Ardennes region to the French High Command. The French High Command rejected the report and claimed it to be false, as they still believed that tanks can't cross the Ardennes region. The traffic jam continued for several hours, and they successfully crossed the forest with zero French resistance. General von Manstein continued his pace and raced across French towns to the Atlantic. His move split the Allied armies into two halves and disabled the once mighty French army. General Erwin Rommel, who also led such a daring dash, commented that it took us just 4 days to cross of what took us 4 years. If the French High Command would have acted on the reconnaissance, the French and British bomber might have destroyed German vehicles as they were sitting ducks. That could have changed the course of World War II.